Good day, students. As most of us are approaching the 300 pulls needed to guarantee the standard 5-star unit from the selector, I want to talk about each unit available in the selector, what changed for them since the launch until now, and who are my recommended picks. And in case the devs decide to give us another selector for the 1-year anniversary, this video will serve as a good reference for that one as well, in case you already chose the first unit from the original selector. I also give some brief suggestions for each unit in terms of the stats you should aim for, general builds, and some team recommendations for every single one of you who lives his life by the motto waifu or husband over meta. So sit down, open your notebooks, and sharpen your pencils, as today's class is hereby in session. Unfortunately, our boy has not had a great time since the release of the game. After being beaten at every step of the way in the story, he has also been permanently replaced in the meta by Jingliu, with no light in sight. Suffering from some glaring issues in his kit, namely losing a great portion of his damage after he is being hit, while also being entirely single target focus, is not that appealing looking at all the damage-dealing units released so far. Therefore, he is not recommended to be picked under any circumstances. For endgame stats, you should aim for anything above the breakpoint of 135 speed, especially if you are running Glameth, at least 2500 attack, 20% crit rate, as he gets 80% crit rate from his kit already, and anything above 180% crit damage. For relics, Pioneer and Hunter will be the best, while Glameth and Rudolin Arena are the best options for planar sets. For light cones, Celi's light cone is the best option, but he will also do just fine with the Herta light cone. For more 4-star choices, swordplay or silence will be great. Team suggestions. For the sustain, Gepard, as Yanqing needs to avoid being damaged to maintain his buff. Therefore, a shielder is preferred over a traditional healer. Aventurine might be a decent option, but we need to wait until 2.1 to know for sure. For support, as he gets a ton of crit stats, Ruin Mei will provide him with the additional stats needed, but Bronya and Sparkle can also work as you can never have enough crit damage, and the action advance provided is also amazing. For more F2P alternatives, Fire Trailblazer is the best variant for 4 stars. For support, Hanya, Asta, Tingyun, and Pela will do fine depending on the enemy weakness and stage composition. After being the target of criticism for a long period of time, Himeko came back with a vengeance for all the non-believers with the introduction of Pure Fiction, where she truly shines. She will also make the daily farming a breeze and has access to her light cone from the shop. Even though it's not her best option, it is still serviceable and will do its job. What Himeko does best is AoE clearing, and in Pure Fiction, AoE clearing is the name of the game, so if you already have Bronya and are missing an AoE unit for Pure Fiction, Himeko is the unit for you. For endgame stats, you should aim for anything above the breakpoint of 135 speed, especially if you are running Glameth, at least 2500 attack and 85% crit rate, as she gets 15% crit rate from her trace already, and anything above 150% crit damage. For relics, Pioneer and Grand Duke will be the best, while Glameth and Salsoro are the best options for planar sets. For light cones, her light cone is the best option, but you can also use Before Dawn. She will also do just fine with the newly introduced Forgotten Hall light cone. For more 4-star choices, Repose or Peaceful Day will be great. Team suggestions. For the sustainer, any of the big 3 sustainers is preferred. Like for Yanqing, Aventurine might be a decent option as well, but we need to wait until 2.1 to know for sure. For support, Ruin Mei will be the best choice as the additional weakness break efficiency provided will equal more talent procs for Himeko, but Bronya and Sparkle can also work as you can never have enough crit damage, and the action advance provided is also amazing. For a secondary DPS, Topaz will be a great teammate due to her follow-up damage increase. For more F2P alternatives, Lynx will do just fine as the sustain. Asta, Tingyun, and Pela will also be great, depending on the content. Originally a powerhouse of a unit at the start of the game, Gepard has lost much of its use with the introduction of the holy trinity of sustain, Luocha, Huo Huo, and Fu Xuan. While the shields he provides are just as thick as always, he simply cannot keep up in terms of solo sustain, especially in the harder content of the game, like one of the 3 mentioned previously. And with the upcoming release of Aventurine, he might be thrown even further down the ladder. Therefore, he is also not a recommended pick anymore. For endgame stats, you should aim for as much survivability as possible and to maximize the shields. Therefore, anything over 3k HP and 2500 defense will be fine. Try to aim for anything above 134 speed breakpoint to have as many actions as possible, and of course run the energy regen rope for more ultimates. For relics, Knight or a combination of Knight and Hackerspace or Longevue will be the best, while for planar sets, any option between Keel, Fleet, and Bellabog will work, but Keel will be preferred to maximize the crit stats for your carry. For light cones, his light cone is the best option. For more 4-star choices, Landau's Day 1 or Trend will be great. Team suggestions. For support, anyone between Ruin Mei, Sparkle, and Bronya will work, as all 3 Harmony units are amazing and also work well with each other. For DPS, literally any DPS will work with him, as he is a general shielder with no restrictions. For more F2P alternatives, Asta, Pela, Tingyun, or Hanya will also be great, depending on the content as supports. For 4-star DPS choices, the statement made on the 5-star units is also applicable. The Queen of Harmony for 7 straight patches, even though she has seen competition with the release of Ruin Mei and will most likely be replaced by Sparkle in this patch, Bronya still remains the most valuable pick out of the standard 5-star characters for every account that does not have her yet. Mostly because, compared with other classes, Harmony supports do not 100% replace each other, and instead, most of the time, they complement each other through their buffs, as we do not have a Harmony that provides every single type under the sun, and I doubt we will see one ever. So if you did not already re-roll at the start for her, and you have not managed to win a 50-50 and get her, then she is the #1 pick to choose from this selector. For endgame stats, in terms of speed, you should aim to be slower than your carry by at least 1 point to guarantee the additional action for it, or to go above the speed breakpoint of 160 to guarantee Bronya gets more actions, which will mean more skill points for the team. As a support, you should aim for more survivability. Therefore, anything over 3k HP and 800 defense will be fine, and try to aim above 200% crit damage to get the most out of her ultimate buff, and of course, run the energy regen rope for more ultimates. For relics, Hackerspace or Musketeer will be the best, while for planar sets, any option between Keel, Fleet, and Panaconi will work, but Keel will be preferred to maximize the crit stats for your carry. For light cones, her light cone is the best option, but you can also use Sparkles' LC. For more 4-star choices, Planetary Dance 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 or Carve the Moon will be great. Team suggestions. For the Sustainer, any of the big 3 Sustainers is preferred. Like for Yanqing, Aventurine might be a decent option as well, but we need to wait until 2.1 to know for sure. For additional support, both Ruin Mei and Sparkle will work, as the kits of all 3 Harmony units are complementary with one another. For DPS, any crit rate-based DPS will be superb, but she can also support dot-based carry, albeit at a lower potential. For more F2P alternatives, Lynx will do just fine as the sustain. Asta, Pela, Tingyun, or Hanya will also be great depending on the content as supports. For 4-star DPS choices, the statement made on the 5-star units is also applicable. An interesting choice in the debuffing category, Welt brings an array of debuffs aimed at either improving your team damage directly or delaying the enemy's actions. He was also, for quite some time, the only imaginary option we had in the game, but since then, we have gotten both a free Yukong and a free Doctor ratio, so his worth in this category has drastically declined. While his debuffs are certainly appealing, he suffers from needing to build copious amounts of hit rate in order to land them, and there are also better options out there in terms of Pella or Silver Wolf if you are looking for a debuffer. Therefore, he is also not recommended. For endgame stats, you should aim for anything above the breakpoint of 135 speed, especially if you are running Glamoth, at least 2000 attack, above 60% crit rate, and anything above 130% crit damage. Finally, he will also need around 60 hit rate to hit his debuff. For relics, Pioneer and Wastelander will be the best, while Glamoth and IPC are the best options for planner sets. For light cones, his light cone is amazing if you lose the 50-50 to it, but Goodnight or its Showtime are also fine choices. Team suggestions. For the Sustainer, any of the big 3 Sustainers is preferred. Like for Yanqing, Aventurine might be a decent option as well, but we need to wait until 2.1 to know for sure. For support, Ruin Mei will be the best choice as the additional weakness break efficiency provided will equal more breaks and imprisonments. But Bronya and Sparkle can also work as you can never have enough crit damage, and the action advance provided is also amazing. For a main DPS, any DPS that can directly benefit from his debuffs will appreciate him, such as Doctor Ratio, but other DPS units will also work, as the damage increase from Welt's ultimate can be used by everyone. For more F2P alternatives, Lynx will do just fine as the sustain. Asta, Pela, or Tingyun will also be great depending on the content. For 4-star DPS options, as mentioned before, anyone will benefit from his damage increase, so theoretically, any choice can work. The Dragon Girl suffers from the same problem as Gepard, in that she also struggles as the solo sustain unit compared to the Sustainer trio. Furthermore, she lacks a critical component that every other Abundance unit has, and that is a cleanse, which is very much needed in multiple types of content and bosses. What's even worse is that even the free healers provided by the game have a cleanse already integrated into their kit from the E0. Therefore, it is highly not recommended to be picked, as you already have better options provided for free just by playing the game. For endgame stats, you should aim for as much survivability as possible and to maximize the heals. Therefore, anything over 6k HP and 800 defense will be fine. Try to aim for anything above 134 speed breakpoint to have as many actions as possible, and of course, run the energy regen rope for more ultimates. For relics, Hackerspace or a combination of Hackerspace and Passerby or Longevious will be the best, while for planar sets, any option between Keel, Fleet, and Penacony will work. But Keel will be preferred to maximize the crit stats for your carry. For light cones, her light cone is amazing, and you can get it from the shop, or you might lose the 50-50 to it. Huohuo's LC is also great for her. For 4-star choices, almost every option will be fine depending on which one you have. The only 2 that are not recommended are Warmth and What is Real. Team suggestions for support, anyone between Ruin Mei, Sparkle, and Bronya will work as all 3 Harmony units are amazing and also work well with each other. For DPS, literally any DPS will work with her as she is a general healer with no restrictions, although she consumes more skill points in harder content. For more F2P alternatives, Asta, Pela, Tinyun, or Hanya will also be great, depending on the content as supports. For 4-star DPS choices, the statement made on the 5-star units is also applicable. And finally, the coolest standard unit, Svarog. Fine. I mean the girl who doesn't seem to know that shoes exist, Clara. Clara and Svarog have been getting some indirect love and support since the launch of the game, mostly through all the destruction light cones that have been released, as most of them can be used by Clara. The addition of Topaz to the game also boosted her damage against single targets significantly, and with the addition of the follow-up relic set, she also had more gearing options. She is also good in pure fiction, although you may need to spam her skill more than usual, as most of her damage is based on her being hit. All in all, she is another decent option if you already have Bronya secured and you find her playstyle more fun compared to Himeko's. For endgame stats, you should aim for a mix of damage and tankiness, therefore at least 3000 HP and attack, above 60% crit rate, and anything above 130% crit damage. You don't really need speed on her, as you want to get hit as much as possible by the enemy. For relics, Champion and Longevious will be the best, while Salsodo and Rutilant are the best options for planar sets. For light cones, her light cone is amazing if you lost the 50 to it or plan to get it from the shop, but the Herta light cone is a better choice and you can get it for free. For 4 stars, Vow or Under the Sky are fine options. Team suggestions. For the sustainer, any of the big 3 sustainers is preferred. Like for Yanqing, Aventurine might be a decent option as well, but we need to wait until 2.1 to know for sure. For support, Bronya and Sparkle, as you can never have enough crit damage, and the action advance provided is also amazing. For a secondary DPS, Topaz will boost her damage against a single target. Blade has a similar masochistic playstyle, so in AoE content where both are hit, you can expect some incredible retaliation from them. For more F2P alternatives, Lynx is a great choice, as she boosts the taunt value for Clara, meaning more counters. Asta, Pela, or Tingyun will also be great, depending on the content. So who are you going to pick from the Standard Selector? Or do you believe we will indeed get another 5-star Standard Unit Selector in the Anniversary patch? Let me know down in the comments, and until next time, I am Professor Veritas Ratio, and remember, stay smart and sexy.